How are you feeling today? Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready. What if I told you you've been making the same horrible mistake every time he pulls away from you? But what if I also told you If you just made a few small adjustments, this could go from being a disaster for you to being an opportunity for you to show him something very important. If that sounds like something you want to do, perfect. Because on today's show, we're going to be discussing mistakes you must avoid when you feel him pulling away from you. That way, you never get baited into chasing a man ever again. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. How are all you beautiful people doing on this Friday afternoon? So good to see you and spend this time with you. Who we got up in the TikTok chat? I see we got Anna is here, Rogue is here, Dragonfly is here, Diana is here, Trina is here, Smile is here, Zeke is here, and of course we have our two moderators here, Sharice and Scotty, holding us down in our TikTok chat. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? We got Ivy, one of our amazing channel members. We got Amal, one of our amazing channel members. We got Mary is here. We got Nicole, one of the amazing channel members. Tori is here. Maria is here. Okay, welcome. Irina is here. Welcome, all you beautiful people. Let's get this party started on this Friday afternoon. Okay, so a lot of mistakes. I try my best to make sure that the advice I'm giving you is in line with a lot of the themes that I continue to see in our Players Club Discord and in all the messages that I receive with the hundreds of you that I also help privately. Okay, so one of the things that I've been noticing is a lot of you tend to make the same mistakes whenever you start noticing a guy is not as interested. Okay, so let's kind of discuss some of these. I'm going to yell at you a little bit so that you know never to do them again. And we're going to discuss. All right. Okay, so first things first, that is a mistake that you're going to make, is the desire to make a call out message. Now, what exactly is a call out message? Let me explain this to you, and we're going to come up with some visuals here, but I want to break this down. So when you feel a guy pulling away from you, one of the first instincts that you know, from what you hear online and what you think will be a healthy relationship is, oh, well, so I feel that he is less interested in me. I can sense a difference and a change in his level of intensity and approach to this relationship and investment here. So now, because I notice this change, I think it's necessary for me to take a step forward and let him know that I'm noticing his change. I'm going to tell him what he's done, how he's done it. I'm going to let him know that this type of change makes me feel uncomfortable. And when I send him this whole long message and explanation of how I feel, why I feel it, and what I've noticed him doing, it's going to make it all so very clear to him why he should make a change. So let's break down in a visual why this really never works, okay? So you start thinking to yourself, right? You think, when I send this big long message, right? It's usually a text message or a call in some cases, right? You think when you send this big long text message in a particular way, it's essentially going to be like a mirror to him, where he's going to see himself in this mirror here, and he's going to know how much of a bad person he is. Okay, this is like, pretend this is like devil horns, all right? He's gonna know how much of a horrible person he is when he looks in that mirror after you send him this big long text message, calling him out and explaining to him all the bad ways he's hurting you, all the ways he's pulling away from you and making you feel sad and making you feel unappreciated, and how you don't like it and how you want this to change. And you think that when he notices this, all of a sudden, right, when you hold up that mirror of him as a bad person, it's like Mickey Mouse ears. When you hold up that mirror to him as a bad person, you think that's going to inspire change. And you're convinced that you calling him out is going to make him realize, because he's been such a bad person to you, that it's necessary for him to make a change in his behavior, him to start, going back to the level of intensity he once had, him to start talking to you more, him to start calling you more, messaging you more, hanging out with you more, or asking you out on dates more. And only, let me explain this to you. Only once you send that message, right, thinking that this is all going to fix everything, do you realize afterwards that sending that message either doesn't get you a response, or when you send that message, all he does is make excuses, but still nothing changes. So if sending him this call out message, right, doesn't help him see himself in the mirror and help him make a change, what actually inspires change in men? You're probably asking and probably wondering, okay? So let me break this down real simple for you. This doesn't work, right? When you send him the message, he's not going to look in the mirror and he's not going to make a change. So why do men change? Okay, so for men, they change only and solely for the purpose of necessity. Now, what does that really mean? See, men are not changing their behavior because they love you so much and they think it's the right thing to do, and they know that, in this perfect world that we should be living in, that you deserve to get treated right, and that's how he should treat you, and this is what he's called to do. No. That's not why they make changes, unfortunately. Men make changes when they realize that they are not going to be happy with the result or their life if they don't make a change. Essentially, they only make a change when they're forced to make a change. And when do they feel forced to make a change? When it affects their life directly. So, if they aren't getting access to someone that they want to get access to, then they'll make a change. If they feel like they're losing out on a woman who they don't want to lose out on, then they make a change. If they feel like you've become uninterested or maybe you're moving on, then they make a change. They do not make a change simply because you send them a call out message explaining to them all the ways that they're doing you wrong in this current moment, or that you might be losing interest, or you're a little bit confused, okay? I know you feel bad and you're just trying to express and communicate your feelings, but the reality of it is it doesn't inspire them to make any sort of change here. And you have to understand this is only ever going to come from the feeling of necessity, when he feels compelled to change because something is happening in his life that he does not like. That's the problem. When men pull away from you, there's nothing that says to him that when he comes back to you, things will be different. There's nothing that says within him that he needs to adjust his behavior, especially if he notices you start to reach out to him more and you start to take a step forward, okay? You're going to notice a theme in a lot of the points that we discussed today, right? Because when guys pull away from you, you have to understand taking a step forward or taking action because you're trying to stimulate the process of him realizing he's pulled away from you never works. Men never respond to that, and they never feel sorry for you because you're sad that he's showing less interest in you, okay? So the worst thing you can do when a guy pulls away from you is to give this big call out message feeling like that's going to inspire some level of change. It will not, okay? Let's move on to point number 2, okay? And they kind of get progressively a little bit crazier as time goes on. So, let me write this here. Anyone have any guesses? This is a scary one. And I never want to see any of you doing this, even though I've seen some of you do this. Do not ever pull up on a man thinking that that is going to make him realize that, he should remember you and acknowledge you, and then everything will be saved. This is one of the worst mistakes you can make, okay? I know you miss that man, and I know you miss his attention specifically. And I know it's very sad for you to go from a position where a guy is giving you attention to feeling like now he doesn't care. Do not ever pull up on men to remind them of your existence. Let me explain this in a visual so we can all be on the same page, okay? So let's imagine here, right, that, right, let's just break this down in a little bit of an equation, and then we're going to do a visual, all right? So you think, right, so you're thinking pulling up means that he'll notice you. And when he notices you, then all of a sudden he'll be reminded of your existence and want to be with you. So let's imagine you're at a bar, right? And at this bar, you're over here by the drink table. Okay, there's the bar right here. And you're standing here by the bar. With your nice little boot heels on, okay, and your short little arms. And he's over here, on the other side. Unimpressed, okay? So you're at the bar with this man, right? I shouldn't say with this man. You come to the bar that you know he goes out to regularly. So let's just also say his boys are here as well, okay? So he's got his stick figure side character boys here. Maybe he's the team leader, okay? So his boys are here at the bar as well. They regularly come there. That's their usual spot that they like to go to. Now, this bar isn't your usual spot, meaning this isn't the spot that you regularly go to on the weekends or you enjoy spending your time. Maybe it's a little bit out of your area. Maybe it's just not your vibe. But what you do know is that this guy that you like, right, and that has been pulling away from you, regularly comes to this spot with his friends. So when this guy starts pulling away from you, you have in your mind, hey, maybe if I show up at this bar that he regularly goes to, he'll notice me, right? And when he notices me with his buddies, he'll remember how beautiful I am. He'll remember how amazing I am. He'll remember how much he wants me. He'll approach me, and then he'll stop pulling away from me. Let me explain to you why this is a horrible, horrible mistake, and this will always go wrong. See, this is the thing. When you come to the bar, you are physically present. So what you want out of this situation is you want him to see you, right? You want him to see you, right? But what you don't realize is even though physically he can see you, he doesn't really he's not really seeing you. What do I mean by he's not really seeing you? He's seeing your physical presence, but he's not seeing your aura. He's not seeing your value. He's not seeing why you are an important person in his life that he should be investing in, maintaining a relationship with, be caring about your happiness, right? He's not actually seeing you for who you really are. He's seeing you present, right? So he might come up to you and have some little chit chat with you because he sees you there. And he might try to sleep with you since you're already at the bar, but he's not actually taking notice of who you are. So you want to know what happens when you come to this bar and you pull up on him thinking that this is going to inspire him remembering you and noticing you. What ends up happening is while he might chit chat with you casually, he goes right back to pulling away from you as he once was before. And now you're more frustrated because you're feeling like, hey, I thought me coming to this bar would have you remember who I am. And when you remember who I am, you would go back to talking to me again like before. What you have to understand about men, and this is going to be a little bit unfortunate for you because when you hear this from me, you might be a little bit sad. what you have to understand about men is when he's talking to you for any period of time, I don't care if he only goes on one single date with you. When he goes on a date with you, or he's spending any period of time with you one-on-one, he does not wake up one day magically after a few days and just forget that you exist in this world. This is a mistake that you make, but it's a narrative that your mind convinces you of to try to justify your actions and leads to more mistakes. Men do not forget a woman's existence because they stop speaking to her for a couple of days or because they start seeing her for a couple of days. I know these guys will like to get you to believe that they're super busy to the point where they can barely even breathe. But I want you to understand they never are so busy that all the brain space taken up by their busyness leads them to forget the fact that they just met you a couple of days ago, or they've been taking you out on a couple of days and now all of a sudden they haven't been speaking to you, okay? The reason I say that is I don't want the narrative in your own mind to start playing where you convince yourself of the idea that, hey, since he has stopped talking to me, it's because he may have forgotten about me. But it's not because he just doesn't have interest in me or because he just doesn't have the intention with me required to like actually date me. And when you play that narrative in your mind, you begin to justify things like this, right? You begin to justify things like pulling up to remind him that you exist because you think it's not about the lack of interest. It's not about the fact that, maybe he actually just doesn't want to date me, or maybe he actually doesn't have the level of intentionality required for a boyfriend, right? It's just because he forgot innocently. But when you do this, like I said, he might see you, but he's not actually seeing you. You're just there in a meat suit, but he doesn't actually take what you're doing or you yourself to heart. Meaning he doesn't actually think to himself, hey, because I saw her, I want to invest in her. That's not how men work. They're not just going to see you after not speaking to you or after pulling away from you and say, wow, now that I've seen her for the first time in a while, now all of a sudden I want to invest in her. They might see you and get horned up, okay, right? He might see you at this club and his pee-pee might be standing up here, okay, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that after he sees you at this bar or at this club, that all of a sudden he's now realizing, hey, now the girl that I was pulling away from is actually the girl that I want to be with, okay? Because remember, like I said at the very beginning, the men aren't inspired to change simply because you beg them to change or beg them to do something different. They're inspired to change when they realize it's a necessity in order to change their own situation, their own life, or their own relationship, right? It always comes back to self for men, unfortunately, right? And if they're not realizing how making a change will serve them or change their situation, then they're not really that interested in making a change. But you have to accept and realize that in order to understand that doing this, pulling up on them, is not going to get you actually seen or noticed by him where something actually changes and he stops pulling away. You're just going to go through the same cycle where he might chit chat with you for a little bit and then eventually he pulls away from you once again, okay? Does that make sense to all you beautiful people so far? All right, that is point number 2. Let's hop ourselves into point number 3. My drawing's getting a little bit better, huh? Or no, maybe, right? I thought that drawing was pretty good, right? I'm trying, right? Trying to work on my drawing skills. One of these days, you'll just see me like Picasso up in here. All right, so let's go to point number 3. So point number 3 is this is a Gen Z one, okay? So this is for all of you people on the younger side, and even actually those of you on the older side probably might suffer from this. Please, 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 okay? Do not be a quote queen. We're even going to call this stop pooping time because I actually want all of you to be paying attention to this. This is one of the easiest mistakes to make whenever a guy pulls away from you. Do not turn yourself into a quote queen And what I mean by that is do not turn yourself into someone that when he pulls away from you, you start sending him a big long message, or sorry, not big long message. You start posting a whole bunch of quotes on your story that are supposed to subliminally hit him in some way, shape, or form, or make him realize something. So let me give you kind of a more direct example of some of the type of things that go on when you become a quote queen. So let's say this guy pulls away from you, right? And you're noticing he stopped talking to you for a while, and you're noticing that he doesn't seem to have as much interest as he once did with you. And you're scrolling through your Instagram, and you see a beautiful Justin LeBoy quote, okay? For those of you that know, you know, okay? Justin LeBoy quote just means Justin LeBoy is an Instagram page where he posts things, toxic, relationship things, right? So an example of a Justin LeBoy quote, right, would just be, it's on a blank screen, and it would say, right? So it would be something like being single is the best feeling, or is so much fun, right? I'm so single, it hurts, but I actually love it, right? Something along those lines, right? Just to kind of crystallize the fact, and you would post that just to kind of crystallize the fact that, yo, I'm feeling good about me. I'm not worried about you. Now, I'm not saying this quote necessarily is a bad thing, but I'm saying that posting this in order to be like, hey, look how unbothered I am. Look how much fun I'm having being single, even though we just went on a couple of dates, and even though you can find my Hinge profile right now on Hinge or on Bumble or on Tinder, right? But being single is literally the best feeling. And you're thinking, hey, when I post this, right? When I post this story, he's gonna DM me. He's going to send me a message, and he's going to be like, oh, so you're single now. Oh, so you're enjoying life without me now. Oh, so you forgot about me now. And you're thinking, oh, this is perfect reverse psychology. I'm going to flip it on him by posting this quote. When I post this quote, he's going to realize what he's done to me. He's going to realize how he mistreated me. And he's going to be tears are going to be streaming down his face. He's going to say, no, I can't lose my princess. I don't want her to be single. I want to be with her. It's a useless waste of your time, okay? Makes you look hurt, makes you look bothered, and it doesn't accomplish what I want you to be accomplishing, which is not to be hurt or bothered. You do not want men to ever, ever, ever get the feeling that when they pull away from you, that it bothers you, or you're discombobulated, or your life is less now because he takes a step back from you, right? Because you're thinking that this, right, all of this stuff right here is going to make him sad, right? But what you don't realize is that when you do all of this, right, it doesn't actually make him sad, it makes him happy. Now, I'm not saying he's happy because he likes to see you posting stuff about being single. I'm saying he's happy because his ego is happy, right? And when his ego is happy, his ego is happy in this scenario because he realizes you that never post quotes like this on your story ever, all of a sudden started posting these quotes when he stopped talking to you. Remember, guys might be a little bit emotionally stunted. They're not idiots though. So if he knows that I've been dating and texting and talking to this girl, and the past couple of days or maybe for a week or so, I haven't talked to her, I haven't messaged her, and we haven't really contacted each other, and all of a sudden she's posting all of these Justin LeBoy quotes on her Instagram story, or for some of you who are on the older side, posting all these Facebook memes about being single, Facebook quotes about being single and how good it feels to be single. Yeah, now I know she's bothered. And now I know she's posting this because of me. When I realize that she's going to post all this stuff on her story because of me, My ego's up. My ego's boosted. Why? Because I realize she's only posting that from a place of being bothered. And when I realize how bothered you are, I realize how much power I have over you, okay? And how much power I have over your emotions. Remember, this is a key theme, and we're going to crystallize this all at the end. Remember, I told you at the very beginning, men make a change when they realize it's a necessity in their own life to make a change in order to see a different result. So understand this. If you're doing things that actually make his ego go up and subsequently make him more happy, why would he feel it's necessary to make a change when he actually ends up feeling really good about the process of pulling away from you and doing this to you? Why? Because he triggers a response in you, right? That's abnormal. And when he sees that your response is abnormal, he realizes that you're emotionally triggered or emotionally bothered. When he realizes you're emotionally bothered, he recognizes his own level of control over you. Relationships are like war, and they're a battle of control. Everyone is fighting for control. Each person wants to keep their control and have control over someone else in some way, shape, or form. And so, especially for the men, they love to recognize control over you, especially if they've slept with you already, because that can also emphasize the fact that when he puts it down on you, when he takes control over you, that schlong goes right from in between your legs and it squirts up into your brain, and you lose brain cells and you're all discombobulated because he's like this person on earth that's so amazing that no one else can deal with. And the way he takes over these girls' souls, it's just different, right? And it all feeds the ego to remind him that when you gave yourself to me, you now belong to me forever. So if I take a step back from you, you're going to go crazy. You're going to go insane. You're just going to lose your mind, all right? And it's all meant to boost that ego, right? When he boosts that ego, he's a happy camper. We don't want you doing that. Do not do that when he pulls away, right? Don't become a quote queen, all right? So let's hop into our fourth point here, okay? Very, very important point. Now, our fourth point is something that will happen most often. So I know I said it was stop pooping time earlier, but this is also very important. I'll put this down here. Okay? You begin overcompensating. Now, this is something very interesting, and we're going to have a very interesting visual for this point here. See, when you notice a guy is pulling away from you, there's also going to be an inclination within you to kind of stop this from happening. Why do you want to stop this from happening? Obviously, because you don't want a guy to pull away from you to the point where you no longer have this relationship with him anymore. Obviously, you don't want this man to walk out of your life. If this man walks out of your life, then you will be left lonely, you'll be left single, and all of these bad things will happen. That's what you're thinking in your mind. So when you start noticing that his interest seems to be dwindling and dwindling and dwindling, you start thinking, okay, this is my sign to take a step forward so that he stops pulling away from me, or I can stop the process of him pulling away from me. Now, let me give you in a visual what actually ends up happening when you do this, okay? So let's just imagine here that you are, this is gonna look really weird, all right? You are this is you, so beautiful, okay? Your huge head, your long legs, and your huge feet. And you are drowning in quicksand, okay? let's just imagine this for a visual. And as you're drowning in quicksand, right, you just kind of step in first with 1 foot, then with 2 feet, and then you're like, oh, this isn't even that bad. I don't even know why they call it quicksand. I'm not even sinking that quick. And you're like, look, I could literally step out. I could come in. I could step out. I could come in. I could step out. Bro, I don't know why they make such a big deal of this quicksand. And so your feet are going in little by little. You're like, yo, I could probably stay here for a minute and nothing's even going to happen to me. So you're in there, and then the quicksand's up to, it's up to like, the top of your foot there. And you're like, yo, I could still move. Like I could get out if I wanted to. And, so you stay in there because you're real confident, right? You're real confident. And your friend's just over there, it's not really a big deal. And so now the quicksand's up to your ankle. Okay. And you're like, yeah, I'll probably get out now. And you're like, wait, I'll probably get out now. Strange. I actually I can't move. I can't really jump now because, the quicksand's kind of right on my ankles there. Oh boy. How am I gonna, hey, Jane, can you come over here, Jane? Right? And now you're kind of panicking because the quicksand is getting up to your kneecaps now. And as it's getting up to your kneecaps, your friend Jane finally comes over here. And now Jane is struggling to pull you out of the quicksand because it's quite deep. You're quite deep in it. So now you're struggling and you're really trying to pull yourself out of this quicksand. And now your friend is here and she's the panicker of the friend group, okay? And so when she can't pull you out, now she's screaming. And her screaming is making you start screaming, and everyone's starting to get frustrated, and you're starting to cry, and everyone's starting to cry, and you're starting to feel bad, and you're starting to feel like you might not escape. And now the quicksand is up to your waist. And as the quicksand goes higher and higher, you begin like moving around everywhere. You start panicking, you start flailing your arms, but actually this is making you sink deeper and deeper, faster and faster and faster and faster. But that faster sinking is making you panic more and more and more. And now the quicksand is up to your neck. Okay? And until the paramedics are able to save you, let's make it a happy story. So let's say the paramedics come and save you. You eventually get saved out by the jaws of life after the quicksand is up to your eyeballs. Okay, let's not say you pass away. Okay, God forbid. So I say that to say, I want you to understand this is the same thing that happens when you begin overcompensating in your relationship when a man pulls away from you. Because the moment you sense it, see, you're a very emotional creature, meaning you're very sensitive to when you feel other people's energy changes, especially the energy of the man you're intimate with, okay? Or you're talking to or starting to build a relationship with. And so the moment you feel a slight change in his behavior or a slight change in his energy or attention, you're very aware of that. And so you immediately want to call him out on that or act on that. And because you immediately want to act on that, you start flailing your arms. Right? And the more you start flailing your arms trying to get yourself out of this situation, that's when you start overcompensating, right? You start messaging him more, you start asking him out on dates more, right? Like you're thinking, oh, maybe you're pulling away because you forgot that we are supposed to be going on dates every now and again. So maybe I'll ask you out on the dates instead. And, you mentioned the aquarium, so maybe we can go to the aquarium. I'll plan it. I'll, organize the schedule. I'll make sure that we're both free, right? And because you start doing all of this overcompensating, you end up doing the pursuing. But as you end up doing the pursuing, it's like flailing your arms, right? And starting to stress, right? And as you start flailing around more, you actually start sinking deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Because now that you're pursuing this man, not only has he pulled away from you, but the times that you do get access to him and he gets access to you is because you lean forward and now you're up in front of his face like this and you're the one pursuing him. And because you're so damn close to him, he's like, damn, I really don't have to do nothing in order to get access to this girl. She right in my damn face, okay? We don't want that for you. Don't begin overcompensating because you realize that man is pulling away from you. You need to do absolutely nothing when men pull away from you. Please do nothing. You have to realize men recognize when they've taken a step back from you or they're showing you less attention. And if you lose your mind when he does this, you'll be in a world of hurt. We want you to never change your behavior, whether he pulls away or whether he's in your life, especially at the beginning. Why? Because you must show men that nothing changes about your life or your happiness, whether he's in it or whether he's not. Because what he then receives that as is, oh, wow, she clearly doesn't need me. And in fact, she needs me so little that I might have to make a change here, because if I don't stop pulling away from her, she's just going to move on with her life. Okay? So let's discuss this a little bit more in our fifth point here. Okay? I know that was quite the example, that one. Okay? So, by the way, do you guys have any questions about what we have discussed so far? And if you've missed any of the points, they're all available on my YouTube page. Just go up top where my name is. It's Tomisin Atobatele. You go to my YouTube page. I'm live there at the same time as I'm live on TikTok, and you can rewatch all of the points. So let's get into point number 5 here, okay? Okay. So this is actually one of the most interesting ones, because when you finally have him pull away and this process goes on for a period of time, what's going to happen also sometimes is after he pulls away from you, he eventually decides to step back into your life, right? He decides to come back and he just tries to resume what was going on in your relationship as if nothing happened. Now, this is a very pivotal point in your relationship, because your response to him coming back will drastically change and show him for the future whether he should continue that process because it works or it does something, or whether it's a pointless activity. So let's kind of break this down here, okay? So when he's MIA, and he comes back into your life, he's expecting you, right? He's expecting that MIA to force you to be in a position where when he comes back into your life, you're super angry, okay? He's expecting that you're gonna call him out, right? You're gonna be so mad, so upset that why would you pull away from me? Why would you not talk to me for 2 weeks? You're going to pretend like you didn't realize that you hadn't talked to me for 2 weeks. You're going to pretend like you didn't realize that we were supposed to go out to Marine Land on Tuesday and you just never said anything to me? How dare you do this to me? Don't you know how much I was looking forward to spending time with you? He's expecting you to lose your mind when he comes back from being MIA. And you want to know what happens when you get super angry, right? Right? When you get super angry, what ends up happening to you is now ego is up once again. Because he recognizes that when he's been away from you, doing his own thing, whether it be talking to other girls, whether it just be being busy at work, whether it just be hanging out with his friends, and you lose your mind after he comes back from being MIA, that anger leads to him saying, oh, you care a lot. You must really like me. Because if you didn't really like me, it wouldn't bother you so much that I went MIA for a little bit. Guys aren't dumb. They know they're coming back from being MIA. They're also expecting that if they've been laying that pipe down on you, if they've got that huge slong like they think they do, like they're the best thing since sliced bread, they're assuming that you're going to lose your mind when they come back into your life. Because they're assuming that you've been staring at the wall, watching paint dry, waiting for him to come back. Okay, that's what they're expecting. So when you give him this response, this is actually perfectly in line with what he's expecting of you, because he thinks you're desperate and he thinks you're needy. Okay, so remember, we do not want to give men what they want in terms of making their ego happy. This is very bad. This is very bad. Because if a man starts to associate having a happy ego with every time he pulls away from you, right? What's going to happen is he's going to say, wow, I want to do it again. Because you've actually made the experience of pulling away from you a positive experience in a very twisted way. Because you've made him feel very important by pulling away from you and not speaking to you. Because when he comes back, he actually, ironically in this weirdest way, he feels very appreciated by you because he took a step back away from you. Because when he comes back into your life, he basically gets bombarded with messages of how much you've missed him, wanted to speak to him, and how much you've been suffering emotionally because he's been absent from your life. That's not doing the thing that you think it's doing. That's not making him feel sad about the situation. That's not making him realize, oh, wow, I should stop doing this. That's actually, especially in the beginning stages, doing the complete opposite of what you're trying to show him. You're actually ending up telling him, wow, if I want to continue feeling appreciated by you, if I want to continue feeling seen and heard and loved and adored by you, I should continue doing this pull away thing every so often. Because every time I come back into your life, you're going to be desperate. You're going to be at your wit's end. You're going to be so emotionally broken. And I get to stand over you and be like, yeah, I'm powerful, aren't I? I'm the biggest, strongest, baddest man in all the land, aren't I? Yeah, worship me. Yeah, right? And that's exactly what he does. We don't want that though. Because then he's just going to continue this cycle over and over and over again. So what needs to happen is when he comes back into your life, now this is where I'm going to crystallize this all for you. So when he comes back into your life after being MIA, we are not going to do any of the things that we discussed earlier. But when he does come back, your response, instead of being angry, is going to be neutral. Okay? You're not gonna fake like you're overjoyed, it's so amazing, so over the moon because he's been gone, and you're not gonna pretend as if you're really sad or anything like that. You're just gonna be like, oh, I didn't even notice. Okay? So one of the best things for you to do, if a guy sends you a message after he's disappeared on you for a couple of days or even maybe a week, when he comes back into your life, he's going to send you this message and he's going to assume that you are going to be very angry. But remember, now you're changing this pathway here and you're changing it to being neutral. Now, what's going to happen to his ego is something very interesting, okay? His ego is going to go down because now, when he comes back into your life and you're like, oh, you're back? I didn't even realize you were gone. He's going to say, this is not as fun as I imagined it to be because I come back into your life and I don't feel appreciated. I actually feel like I don't matter. So when guys come back into your life, the energy you want to give them, right? They're going to say, so for example, he'll say, oh, my bad. My phone's been dead for the past week. And I've been busy at work, I've been doing this and I've been doing that. He's gonna come with his ready-made excuses, expecting you to freak out and question him. What I want you to do instead, when he comes back after this week, is I want you to respond to him and say, oh, it's been a week? I didn't even realize. That's crazy. And leave it there. That's all I want you to say. That's crazy. I didn't even know it's been a week. Are you sure it's been a week? I didn't know. Are you sure it hasn't only been a few days? I don't know. That's weird. What that's going to do to him, and I really mean this, okay? Don't laugh. It's just serious. The reason I want you to do this is because this response doesn't make it seem like you're trying to make yourself look super happy, right? Because that can also be a clue into the fact that you're bothered. And it also doesn't make it seem like you've been super sad. It just makes it seem like I actually don't care about what you're doing. and I care so little about what you're doing, my focus has been on me that I actually forgot that you stopped being here. That is the most painful realization for men, especially when they've been gone from your life. Because when they come back, it doesn't, see, emotions can do the same thing, whether they're positive or negative a lot of the times. So if you're super ecstatic when he comes back into your life, that can be an ego boost. If you're also super angry when he comes back into your life, that can also be an ego boost. What is not an ego boost is realizing that he doesn't matter to you, or that your life is so much more important and he's so unimportant that you can't even be bothered to notice when he disappears from you. So his ego goes down because he starts to realize, well, I must not really matter that much if you don't even notice me being gone when you were supposed to be losing your mind. And so now, because his ego has gone down because of your response to the situation, he then in turn says, wow, this was so pointless. I pulled away from her thinking this was going to ruin her life, thinking she was going to be so sad, thinking she was going to be so emotional, so distraught, on the floor, crying, teared up, only to come back. And when I came back, she didn't even recognize that I was gone. She didn't even know it's been a whole week since I disappeared on her. I'm over here thinking she's in agony. I didn't see no quotes posted by her. She didn't act weird. She didn't pull up on me. She didn't call me. She didn't message me. She really forgot about me. This girl done really forgot about, I thought I had that pipe. I thought I had that schlong. I thought I was D'ing her down crazy. No way. No way. She done forgot about me. And they realize that the process of doing this over and over and over again will, instead of leading to you being more attached to him or more desperate for him, is more likely to lead him to being in a position where you literally just forget about him because it's been so long. Or you just start dating someone else because you literally just don't care. That if he's not going to be in your life, it's you just move on with your life and do something else. And he's going to recognize that if I am going to continue doing this, there's a high likelihood I won't see the result that I want to see. So it goes back, right? It goes back to what we discussed at the beginning of the show, which is that men don't change because you beg them to change. They change out of necessity. So when they realize that something is not working for them, when they realize that they're doing something that's pointless or that's hurting their ability to be happy or get what they want, that's when they say, oh, now it's time for me to adjust my behavior. Because if I don't adjust my behavior, I'm going to lose the woman that I want. If I don't adjust my behavior, this girl might actually forget about me and move forward. If I don't adjust my behavior, I'll be the one that's single and lonely and I'll miss out on this girl. So they realize through the fact that there is a necessity to make a change. Why? Because of the results he's been seeing, then he actually has the desire to make a change. And the best part is you didn't even have to beg him to do so. You just stuck to your guns and stayed grounded, didn't lose your mind, and he came up to his own realization on his own, and he acted accordingly. Okay? Which is the best way to get any sort of result out of a man. Does that make sense to all of you beautiful people? Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed? Okay, so number 1 was the call out message. Number 2, pulling up. Number 3, the quote queen. Number 4, overcompensating. And number 5, the MIA response. Now, for those of you who are on TikTok watching all of these points and you're like, damn it, I missed most of them. I just came and I'm a little bit late. What were the other ones? Don't worry. They're all available on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just Tomisin Atobatele. It's on the top right corner of the screen. Type in my name on YouTube. I'm live there at the same time as I'm live on TikTok, as technology, right? And you go on there, you can watch this live as it's happening, but you can also rewind it there and it'll be available to you after, the show as well. Okay. So Carmen B donates $2 in the YouTube chat. She says, what if it's just a hey text? How do you respond? So are you saying if he comes back and he just sends you a hey text, you just mirror him back? Hey. If he says, oh, my bad, I've been gone for 35 months, what's been going on? Then you say, oh, didn't even notice. Not a big deal, right? Because even sometimes when guys will message you just simply, hey, and not even come with any sort of explanation, they're expecting you to take that emotional space, right, up and eat it up by saying, how dare you just say hey, as if you haven't been gone for the past 5-6 days, okay? As if you haven't disappeared on me, where did you go? They're expecting that reaction. So that's why sometimes guys will also message you with such a bare bones message that they actually are expecting that bare bones message will trigger you even more into calling him out and going crazy. Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. Don't give him what he's looking for, okay? You guys have heard the term of someone fishing for compliments. Guys also fish for their own validation to see you like desperate on the floor, crying in agony when, they're not by your side or when they're not with you. That's also like when they want to fish for that validation that they're the best thing since sliced bread. They want to see you and hear you go crazy on them because they pull away from you. That's like their own way of fishing for validation. So when he messages you, hey, after he's disappeared for 1 week and you know and he knows, he's doing that so that you will be triggered and then lose your mind, right? That way he can recognize how amazing he is because you're losing your mind, okay? Does that make sense? Yvette says, what about if this happens in a relationship? It's the exact same thing, right? It's the exact same thing that you do here. Now, also, what you guys have to recognize is at a certain point, you have to make a decision on whether coming back is not even a realistic thing here. So what I mean by that is if a guy you're dating randomly disappears for 2 months, yeah, there becomes a limit where you have to then say to yourself, even if he comes back, I'm not going to respond at all, right? And you have to be able to make that discernment there between what is okay and what is just overboard type of thing. Nicole donates $10 in the YouTube chat. Oh, by the way, someone said in the TikTok chat, how do you donate? TikTok is a little bit more complicated with coins. If you really want to donate, go over to YouTube and watch the stream on YouTube, just above my head, right? It's just my name, Tomisin Atobatele. Watch stream on YouTube. It's easier to donate on there. TikTok is a little bit more complicated to donate, so it's hard for me to explain. Nicole donates $10 in the YouTube chat. She says, thank you, Mr. Tomisin. Class is always great. I've made all these mistakes at one point or another with different guys. Thank you so very much for everything you do. Thank you so much, Nicole, for the donation and the appreciation, okay? Chat, does this make sense to you guys? I know it's Friday, I want us to have fun, but this is an easy mistake to make, and I see a lot of you all making this mistake. You guys know when we have Discord time, which we're about to hop in, make sure you put your questions in our Discord before we hop in, all right? When we do Discord time, when I'm helping you guys with private questions, I'm noticing this anxiety that you all get when a guy pulls away from you, leads you all to do very similar things. And a lot of times they're always going to lead you down a path of more misery, because when you do those things thinking you're going to stimulate the relationship to actually work out, it only ends up making things a lot worse, okay? Does that make sense? Aline says, do nothing is the mantra. It is the mantra a lot of the times, right? Do nothing can be the answer a lot of the times, because in your feminine energy, you're not meant to be the one pursuing or taking a whole bunch of action. You're meant to be the one receiving the man's action because he wants you and wants to be in a relationship with you, okay? Does that make sense to all you beautiful people, right? Does that make sense? T. Chen says, why bother with this dude in the first place? Just ghost him and leave him on red forever. I mean, yeah, that's a possible solution, but I also understand that I'm talking to human beings who are very complex, and not all of you are gonna simply accept the strategy of, hey, if a guy ever does this, just forget about him and never speak to him again, okay? Yes, that's technically a solution as well, but I also know in talking to all of you, not all of you are gonna do that. So I'd rather give you a strategy that you can follow that could still get you the result of being with that guy, okay? While helping you get the respect that is necessary for a healthy relationship, okay? So I like to give you guys multiple options in order to do this correctly, okay? Someone said, please explain what MIA is. MIA, sorry, I know some of you guys are from different countries, so I should have been more specific. MIA means missing in action. It's an acronym for missing in action. So if any of you are from a different country or speak a different language and you're not aware of that type of terminology, MIA stands for missing in action. So I'm saying that when a guy has a missing in action response, right, you don't want to respond to him in the way that will make it look like you're bothered, okay, when he comes back from being missing in action. That's what MIA stands for. I should have been more specific with that. I forget. All you guys from all over the world. I'd be forgetting that sometimes. I'd be in North America, right? Someone says, what if a dude hides from a relationship many details of his life? That's a completely different problem that you need to be worried about, because that ain't gonna go you in no place very good, okay? If you have that issue yourself, then put your question into our Discord, and our moderators will tell you exactly how to do that. It's just available in our TikTok chat there, okay? By the way, for those of you who want to send me a question, you want me to answer it in our Discord time, but you want me to answer it today, make sure you're putting it in Discord Premium, and make sure you're also donating to the show in order to put your question into Discord Premium, okay? When you put your question in there, it's going to prompt you to put your username and the title of your question. Put it in there when you donate to the show, then drop your question, okay? Make sure you're donating to the show if you're in Relationship Advice Premium. That will ensure I answer your question today, okay? Liliana says, is it even possible to have a healthy relationship with a man who does this? The answer, truthfully and honestly, is yes and no, because some men will come back from this and never do it again because they'll realize it's a pointless activity. But there are also a lot of men, which is honestly the majority of men, that will do this, and this is just their personality. And because they have very little respect for you, they don't change. They either don't change this, or they don't have the intentionality, right, ready to put their best foot forward in a relationship, meaning they don't have the desire to actually change this because they want you, right? This is all going to be sparked by a guy who actually has desire to build with you. But if he has no desire to build with you or be in a relationship with you, then he's not going to change anything. Why would he? Okay. Does that make sense, right? Andrew says, can you explain it again really fast? It's all available on my YouTube channel right up there on the top right of the screen. If you want me to tell you in 5 seconds, is not the place for you. I don't explain information in 5 seconds. I go detailed. I don't give a damn. All right. It is always the guys you don't like that chase you. It is like that, which is why we have the show, The Players Club, so that you guys can get an understanding of how to adjust your behavior for when you really like a guy. Because when a guy really likes you that you don't really like, you actually make yourself more attractive to that guy with everything that you do because you don't like him. But when you really like a guy, you do a lot of things that make you more unattractive, ironically, to those guys. But if you just understood the different ways you react and approach guys when you like them versus when you don't like them, you're able to kind of reverse that. And when you recognize you like a guy, you're actually able to be self-conscious enough to make an adjustment where you treat him like the guys you don't like, and then he starts pursuing you. So then you're all happy and everyone's happy, okay? Does that make sense? Malia says, what about a guy who loves you and pulls away? You do exactly this. If you're in a situation like that where that guy loves you and he pulls away, this will work perfectly for you because he has the intentionality required to actually want to make a change after he experiences this level of pain, okay? Nora says, how can I do all of this and make them fall to their knees? Theoretically, this process is going to kind of put you in a position of power. So if that's what you're looking for, then that is exactly what this does. But this only comes if he's actually pulling away from you. Okay, does that make sense, right? Star says, why do guys always want what they cannot have, but when they get you, they don't love you? It's kind of like a human being thing, right? I give the example to you guys all the time. If I tell you you can have anything in my fridge except for the chocolate chip cookies on the top of the fridge, the first thing you think about is the chocolate chip cookies and why I told you you can't have them. because that's just how the human brain works. The moment I tell you you can't have something, that's the moment you want it the most. So if you recognize that about psychology and human beings, you can make yourself look like something to be obtained that no one can have, and then subsequently you become more attractive just for existing as something that most people can't have. Okay, it's very weird, very strange, but understanding it allows you to position yourself in a way that makes you super, super attractive to those men. All right, chat, let's hop in to our next segment of the day, which is our React segment. And for those of you who have never been here, we react to TikToks around town about relationships and relationship advice and other relationship content, and relationship creators and things like that. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna hop in there. You gotta spam up your headphone emojis, spam up your baby oil emojis, spam up your camera emojis, because we're gonna be reacting and watching some videos and together. And in the process of that, I'm gonna do a little bit of cleaning up here, take the board down, put my chair up. And when I do that, we're gonna play a little intermission video for you guys to watch while I clean up, so you're not just watching me clean up. And then I'll be back and with you all to react to these videos in just a moment, okay? So let's enjoy this intermission video, which comes from the Wizard Liz, okay? Wizard Liz is gonna talk to us about how to be hot.
A hot person does not chase, they attract. Why is this? A hot person knows that they are whole by themselves and that they are abundant beings in every aspect. They will always attract money. They will always attract love. They will always attract attention, adoration. It doesn't matter, because that is what they give to themselves. A hot person, when they are broke, they don't sit around and be like, oh my God, I'm broke. Oh my God, so sad. No, they go out and find a way to make money, because they will provide that for themselves. And it's easy and it will come to them. A hot person, when they don't feel good about themselves, they don't sit there rotting in their bed all day thinking like, oh my God, I'm such a loser. Oh, no, they go and do something about it. They think like, okay, how can I figure this out? What can I do? Blah, blah. So they're constantly in this mindset of like, how can I make myself better? And I'm good right now, but if I don't feel good, how can I make it better? Nothing in this world or in this universe is too much for you. And you know that. So when you know that, you don't have to be desperate for things. And that's why a hot person is not desperate. Now, a non-hot person, yeah, they will be desperate and they will be chasing. For example, if someone doesn't want them, they'll like chase them even more, because they think that if this person doesn't want me, that means I'm not good enough. No. If this person doesn't want you, you let them go, because someone else will come and someone better will come, because you are an abundant being. And that's what a hot person believes about themselves. A hot person knows that this is my world, this is my life, and it's gonna be the best one I have. I'm gonna enjoy this life, I'm gonna live my best life, and God is gonna help me with that. Another thing is, a hot person knows what they want and they do not settle for anything less. So they have a very clear mind of, okay, this is what I want in life, this is what I want to go, and this is what I want to achieve. Any person or any job or any opportunity that doesn't match that goal gets rejected by the hot person. Why? Because they will be a hassle for the hot person to get to their goal, and they don't want that. We don't want to waste time. For example, me, I want a certain lifestyle, okay? I want a certain lifestyle, so I will not date people, or I will not be with people that cannot provide me with that lifestyle. Does that mean I'm crazy or I'm a gold digger or whatever? No, because I provide myself with money. I have literally everything I want, and if a man cannot give me more than I already have, or he can add to what I have, why is he there? Why am I dating someone? It doesn't make sense to me. If a person does not make you happier, more loved, or even wealthier, why are you there? I don't get it. Like, if it's not growing you, then why are you there? A lot of people, they go into relationships or they get into situations and then they settle for something, and then they end up their whole life complaining about that they settled. But why did you settle though? If you knew that you were abundant and you can have anything you want in this life, then why did you settle? Because at this point you have to blame yourself. You have to be like, damn girl, like, I gotta get out of here. This is not what I want. Why do people settle for things that they don't want? Like, why do you guys always act like, oh my God, this life, we need to compromise constantly, this and that? Let the people that want to compromise, let them compromise. But if you want something in life, if you want even the biggest things, what does it matter? God gave us abundance. What does it matter? A hot person is authentically themselves. Authenticity is the highest vibration. It's even higher than love, okay? When you are vibrating on an authentic level, you attract everything because you're not afraid to be who you are and you're unapologetically yourself. That's the highest form of confidence, and people will be drawn to you like no tomorrow. When you are doing something, whether it's following a trend, whether putting some content out there, whatever you're doing, when you are doing that, ask yourself, does this feel comfortable? Am I comfortable with what I'm doing? When that's a yes, then you know that you're acting authentically. When that's a no, it's not for you. That's not good. Don't do that, because the more you do things that don't align with who you are, other people will feel that vibration and you come across very insecure. See, I've done very cringy things online, offline. I've done very cringy things. Do I feel embarrassed for them? No, because that is authentically myself. Do I think it's cringy and funny? Yes, but
is our React segment, okay? So we're going to be discussing some of these videos. Oh, by the way, chat, those of you who are wondering who that creator was, that is the Wizard Liz on YouTube, okay? She's got a bunch of subscribers. She's got like 5 million subscribers, so got lots of videos that are just like that one. She's an amazing content creator. Let's go on to our first video here, which comes from this man.
Respectfully, I want to love you in front of all the people who didn't, just so they can see how much you glow when you're treated right. Respectfully, I want to love you in
That was it?
front of all the people who didn't, just so they can see how much you glow when you're treated right. Respectfully, I want to love you.
I guess we snapped to that. Yeah. Yeah. Vibes. Okay. That was it. It's just 7 minutes video. All right, let's go to the next one.
The best advice I could give women for dating is to just date for results. Date a man who's already established, has something to show for his efforts, have already developed the characteristics it takes to become a success, because you're going to have a much better time dealing with somebody that has integrity and consistency. That all comes as a package deal with successful guys. And dating a guy who hasn't already put the work in the hopes that one day he's going to become a provider is just a long shot. You're setting yourself up for disappointment. It takes an incredible amount of self-work to become that kind of person. And if it's not already there, the likelihood that you'll get it ever is slim. Women choosing to date a man with a proven track record is far better than dating a man for his potential. The best advice I can...
So here's the thing about what he's saying, and it's actually very true, but I'll kind of break it down to you why he's saying it like that. See, if I'm talking to you and I'm trying to give you the best opportunity to win and have happiness in your relationship, the reality of it is there are some amazing men out there that are eventually going to be millionaires and billionaires and super successful, super rich, so many resources, and turn into amazing providers. But the reality of it is that's a very small minority of men, right? So in that process, if you're thinking that all the men you're meeting are a work in progress that will eventually be great, unfortunately, the reality of it is that's just not statistically possible. There's only a few of them that will end up being at the tippity top, right? Like the 1% or whatever, however you want to describe it, okay? And the thing about that is if you're constantly dating a whole bunch of guys based on potential of eventually being one of those men, you'll end up realizing that majority of them will never be one of those men. Even the ones that sometimes talk about wanting to be one of those men don't get there because they either don't have the skill set, they don't have the knowledge, or they just don't have the actual like desire. They don't have the cojones to actually do what it takes. A lot of guys, they talk a big game. So what this is Mr. Russell Hartley is trying to share with you is that getting a guy who already got there is a more sure bet than trying to invest in a man who may or may not get there. Now, it's up to you if you want to believe in a guy who you really think can get there, right? And that can also be a really fulfilling, satisfying journey. But not every guy is that guy. That's just the reality of life. But one of the things that you can use to your advantage or take notice of is when you meet a guy that says he wants big things, see if he's actually about, working big hard. okay, and actually trying to get to where he's trying to go. That's a man that will actually get to, you know, the tippity top. But a lot of guys, you'll notice, the same way they'll talk a big game about relationships is the same way they'll talk a big game about, I want to be rich, I want this, I want that. But then when you ask them, what are they doing tonight? They say, oh, I'm playing video games with the boys. You still working a minimum wage job and you playing video games with the boys? Like, you have time to be playing video games with the boys? Boy, I tell you, boy, some of these men be confused. I tell you, boy, I don't know.
So I was asked a question. Somebody asked me if I was looking for a relationship or companionship. And I had to take a pause because I'm starting to realize I'm leaning more toward companionship and not a relationship. Now, hear me out. I'm starting to look at the two as different, although they're very similar. In a relationship, you're tied to another person or people in some cases with the hopes of living together, building a future together, financial together, all that kind of stuff. In companionship, you're just looking for time. Going out, enjoying time, enjoying fun things, just being a companion. I think that fits for me. I'm still healing from a previous relationship that traumatized the hell out of me. And I don't want to take that trauma onto somebody else. So I'm not looking for nothing like, you know, serious. And people date now for marriage, date now to get to know somebody to be able to build a future with. I ain't trying to build a future with nobody right now. So companionship is something I truly decided that I needed. So it actually fits me better because I just want to spend time. I just want to go out, movies, chill, dinner, whatever. Although I do those things on my own, it'd be nice to have somebody to do that stuff with and get to know them in the meantime. But it's not considered to be, you know, a relationship building type of situation until it gets to that point, of course, right? But I believe everybody needs a companion. Like, and even in relationships, you need that person to be your companion, of course, because just being tied to somebody is meaningless. And I've been through that meaningless situation in the past. So I don't want that. I would rather have a understanding of what a companion is. So I was like,
this is what I refer to. He's good. He's real good. Okay. He's almost as good as I was. Okay. And what he's doing here, this is called being a spin doctor. This is masterful. This is masterful what he just did. What he just did was he spun wasting your time into a package that sounds so good, so genuine, and so thoughtful that you almost don't realize that you're going to get played. You actually don't because he made it sound so eloquent. It was almost like he was telling you like a poem, right? Like he was reading you out a poem that sounded like it was a love companionship. Me and you together forever, companions for life. We go here together, we go there together, we spend time together, and we're just in this euphoric state of companionship. What he doesn't tell you, though, is that at any point in time of that companionship, he can choose to get up and say, I was enjoying companionship with you for 1 to 2 years while I was healing. Now that I'm actually healed, though, I want to build a relationship with someone, but that person isn't you. You are a great companion to me. You're just not the type of woman I'm looking to build a relationship with and wife. So then you kind of look around and you go, wait a second. I thought companionship meant we were going to eventually be together. No. Companionship means you were just here while I was living my life and doing the things, like he said, I was already going to do on my own. But now that I actually have to pick a woman that I actually want to build with and be in a relationship with, I realize that you're not that woman I'm looking for. It's been a spin doctor. Trust me, I know. You're coming from me, I know. Okay, I've done this before. It's a great spin. It sounds amazing. Okay, sounds like a poet. Listen to how he's saying it. He sounds great.
But it's not considered to be, you know, a relationship building type of situation until it gets to that point, of course, right? But I believe
until it gets to that point. Eventually, one day, as you're my companion, I might realize that me and you were meant to be together forever. What he doesn't tell you is on the flip side, he could also wake up one day and realize that you're not who he's looking for to be a wife.
everybody needs a companion. Like, and even in relationships, you need that person to be your companion, of course, because just being tied to somebody is meaningless. And I've been through that meaningless situation in the past, so I don't want that. I would rather have a understanding of what a companion is. So
sounds good in theory. Someone said, what's his username? You guys got to go on my YouTube and watch the stream, because on my YouTube channel, the usernames are up there. They're tagged, all of them. This guy is TMC Millie. I don't know. You got to go on it's up there, okay? If you guys want to go watch his other videos, maybe he has
Respectfully.
more on companionship.
So I was asking.
I can't really teach you
Baby
guys
girl,
about
you
that.
are too beautiful and too smart to still be asking a stupid question. Why do I keep seeing y'all say, how does men move on so fast? I wish I could move on fast like a man too. I don't know how they just be leaving one relationship and on to the next. Men need support in a way that you as a woman do not. A woman can flourish her whole life without a man, and most of you will be more successful without one. That's not the story for a man, though. A man flourishes more within a relationship because a man needs support. Women do independence. Men do prioritization. Can we talk about it? Men do prioritization. You as a woman can do all things and do all things well. A man needs to focus on one task at a time. He has to prioritize. So if he's prioritizing bringing home the money, he's not also prioritizing what needs to be done around the house. Do you get what I mean? If he's prioritizing the game tonight, he's not also prioritizing cooking dinner. If he's prioritizing his career, he's not also prioritizing how to be a good partner. He can't do it all. He needs support. You don't. You don't. Baby girl, you...
I think we all in some ways need support. I don't agree with that. But what I will say is men do this thing where we like to talk a big game about not, especially in the red pill community, they like to talk a big game about, you know, women aren't worth anything. We don't need women, blah, 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 blah. They're basically useless. But then the moment they say, all right, chat, all right, guys, let's all go to a red pill party together and turn up. Right. And, you know, hip, hip, hooray, the fact that all us men are so capable, strong, rich, and handsome. They go to that party, and what's the first thing they say when they get to that party with all those other men? Hey, guys, are we going to invite any women to this party? Because, yeah, I like, you know, chatting with you guys about how amazing men are, but, like, this is kind of going to be a really boring party if it's just us guys. And the first guys to leave a party of all men are men. Isn't that funny? You would think the way that they talk about not needing women, the first guys to stay at a party would be the men. And they would love to be at a party with all men. Ironic, isn't it? It's funny.
Hi everyone. Never thought this would be me, but let me tell you the story of how 2 days ago I found out that my boyfriend of 2 years was cheating on me for those 2 years.
Is she in our Discord? I feel like this is someone from our Discord. Is this secret? Did someone secretly send in their own video that's in our Discord?
With his girlfriend, his other girlfriend of 4 years, and another girl he was dating for 5.5 years. Yeah, so he was cheating on me and cheating on them. So he had 3 girlfriends at once. So a few people have...
Chat, yes or no? Is that considered being the side chick if he was dating someone else for longer? Wait, anyways.
warned me about putting my dirty laundry out there. But to be honest, I don't really see it as my dirty laundry. I was a victim of his narcissistic abuse. So this is really his dirty laundry because he has nothing to do with me anymore, forever. Like, yeah. So I'm really putting this out there because, yeah, there'll be people that pity me, people that are sorry for me, people that probably wish to see me suffer because that's the world we're living in. But praise God, he has better plans. More so for the girls that know something's off in their relationship, take this as advice, as a lesson. Please trust your gut feeling, please. Not even, like, this isn't even just like a warning to future girls he dates. This is literally like, if you're in this situation, if this sounds familiar, just trust your gut. Okay, let's start. So, quick, brief bit of background. I won't say the whole relationship. I'll talk about that after. But brief bit of background is I'd broken up with him a million times. He always weaseled his way back in, manipulated me. The last time I broke up with him, mind you, I broke up with him in June. I think it was June. Yep. My grandmother passed away. And then he weaseled his way back into my life while he was still with the other girls. Like, he could have just left me alone at any stage. Like, there were multiple times he could have left me the F alone. Anyway, so...
I don't like when people say that because you have a choice as well, okay? Anyways.
So, to the story, on, like, the past few weeks, whatever, I had broken up with him again, and he was trying to weasel his way back in. He literally made a PowerPoint presentation. I don't know, maybe I can put a little photo up here. I don't know if I can do that. But he made a PowerPoint presentation about our love languages and all the issues in our relationship, because I had all these issues. I'm like, look, if I ever consider getting back with you, like, things really, really need to change, which we already said that.
That's so efficient. He probably made that same PowerPoint for all the other girls and maybe changed a couple of things, but it makes it look like he's so invested. Oh my God. He's operating on a different, wow.
Million times before. But anyway, he made a PowerPoint presentation, so he was really trying hard. He took me out for dinner, not last weekend, that past the weekend before, to congratulate me on something, because I was like, you never make a big deal about things that I achieve. So he took me out to dinner, bought me like a little gift, bought me a fake card about how he loves me and how he's so proud of me, whatever, etc.
Oh, this is genius. He goes to the CVS or the Shoppers Drug Mart. He gets the same card 3 times and he just signs it and gives it to all 3 of them. Oh, he's on a different level.
Flowers, the whole shenanigans. Anyway, so lucky I posted a story. He wasn't in it because I never posted him, because he never posted me, number 1 red flag. I posted a story of our dinner and his arm was in it and he has tattoos. So tell me why I get a reply to that story on Instagram from a girl, and it says, X sleeps with other girls behind your back. You should ask him about his girlfriend. So anyway, I didn't see this until Monday. So we went out on Saturday night. I think maybe she may have replied on the Saturday night. I didn't see it until Monday. So I called him. And no, I messaged him. I was like, call me right now. And then he called me. I was like, can you please explain to me why I'm getting these messages? And then he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Defensive straight away. I was like, have you ever cheated on me? He's like, nope. Like, that's how he said it. Like, no, Denise, of course not. Like, why are you being an idiot? Like, nothing trying to convince me. He's just like, nope, I've never done anything. He's like, you just don't trust me, blah, 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 putting it back on me, manipulating me. And I was just, like, understandably feeling really anxious. So this was after work, I called him and he wouldn't answer, and he always did this. He always stonewalled me, which I should have just... There were so many red flags. He was just stonewalling me. I was like, if you don't answer, I'm going to come to your house, dude. Like, I can't have an accusation of you're cheating on me and you're not giving me any reassurance. Like, he's like, believe what you want. So that's when I knew. So I literally went to his house. He wasn't there. I knew where he was. So I went to his gym. I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, can we go outside and talk? Anyway, long story short, we had a really, really big fight because he was cold on his face. He didn't give me any reassurance. He's like, what are you doing? Basically gaslit me to make me feel like I'm being crazy. Had a big fight that night. It was like done. Then he put it on me. He's like, the way you reacted was crazy. I don't know if I can be with you, blah, blah, blah. So then I ended up apologizing to him like a dickhead. So
How wow. I wish he was here on screen to be able to explain to me how he was able to flip it to get you to apologize to him for someone messaging you. Wow.
So anyway, that's how it ended, right? Blocked him on everything. He made me feel so shit. I apologized. He's like, it's okay. It's okay, Denise, like a dot. When I wrote this whole paragraph. Manipulator, narcissist, right? Anyway, oh my God, I'm going to run out of time. So let's go forward. So didn't speak for a week. Then last Sunday, this Sunday that just passed, actually Saturday, he tried to call me from this other different number, probably his burner phone that he was using to talk to the other girls, who knows. And then on Sunday, he messages me he emails me because I blocked his numbers, blocked no call IDs, everything. He emails me. He's like, Denise, I just want you to know I never cheated on you regardless of what you believe, blah, blah, blah. Like, please just like hear me out. Just like call me. I was like, bro, okay. I called him. I was like, look, I've put a boundary up because you've cheated on me, even though I didn't have proof at this stage. I was like, I put a boundary up because you cheated on me, etc. And then anyway, he was trying to convince me he didn't, trying to weasel his way back in. He's like, please, like, it's your birthday coming up. Like, I want to take you away, all this shit. Lucky this girl ended up...
How does he even plan? Like, I'm sorry, chat, but I just have to pause. How would he even plan and schedule this out? Like, what's his excuse going to be to his other girlfriends when he's gone for like, wow, I just don't, wow, this is sounds like so much work on his part.
Messaging me back on this Monday that just passed. She's like, oh, has he told you? I was like, no, he's denied everything. And then she's like, do you want to call? I was like, yes, please. Like, I'm going insane here. So we called. She basically told me everything. I had actually run into her once before at his house, and he lied to me. Like, it was about something like family related. And he lied to me saying it's because she's friends with someone in my family, something happened. And then I was like, okay, I felt sus about it. But he lied to her saying that about why I was at his house too, when we were literally boyfriend and girlfriend, but she never knew for the whole year, first year of us dating. Anyway.
What the, what? You, oh, she just glossed over that. Like that would, I'm not, how was he able to convince you and her both that because it was a family, did she not just say a family event? That someone at a family event who was not, that she knew was not his family, was just there.
Okay, I felt sus about it, but he lied to me. Like, I'm going insane here. So we called. She basically told me everything. I had actually run into her once before at his house, and he lied to me. Like, it was about something like family related. And he lied to me saying it's because she's friends with someone in my family, something happened. And then I was like, okay, I felt sus about it. But he lied to her saying that about why I was at his house too, when we were literally boyfriend and girlfriend, but she never knew for the whole year, first year of us dating. Anyway, so I messaged him straight away. I was like, I know everything, you lied, blah, blah, because I'd been saying to him, like, I'd rather hear it from you if you cheated. He was adamant. Anyway, I was like, I know you lied. Then he started messaging her saying, you've ruined my life. I always cared about you and loved you so that she wouldn't tell me. Anyway, I think then we called and I confronted him. He admitted everything, that he cheated on me. I was like, for how long? He's like, basically the whole relationship. At this stage, he didn't tell me about his other girlfriend. So then the next morning, he comes to my house in crocodile tears. Denise, please, I'll do anything. I'll change. I'll go to therapy.
100% this guy's broke. 100%. I won't believe anything else. He has to be broke. Only broke men have this type of time. I won't lie to you. Can't lie.
I'll go to church with you. I'll be a better man for you. I know I can be a better man. I did good things for you. I was like, who are you trying to convince? Yourself or me? I was like, get out of my face. Like, leave right now. Like, you make me sick. Like, I actually feel sick. And anyway, sorry.
Damn.
And especially the past year was just so hard up and down. I was like, bro, it's been like a year. Am I going to meet your family? And he always made me feel bad. He's like, because, you know, his family has like issues and stuff. His parents are divorced and he's from an Asian background. He's like, you don't get it how it is in my culture just because in your culture it's like this. Like, he'd always gaslight me for all the reasons why I couldn't meet his friends and family, why like he didn't want to live together, why he would never post me on Instagram. He deleted his Instagram this year because probably all the girls were thinking, why don't you post me? Like, his girlfriend of 4 years, he never posted her. So how was I to know he even had a girlfriend? Like, what the actual F? Girls, if something feels wrong, like literally 3-4 months in, like, cut it off. Like, I deserved so much better from the get-go. I fell for all his lies. Like, you know, I always have tried to, like, better myself, do things for myself, go to therapy, go to church, like, exercise, work out. And this bloke came into my life, like, actual evil came into my life when I should have known better. And this will be a massive lesson for me. But ladies, if something feels wrong, and men too, because Lord knows that this world is fallen and people of all genders will do such disgusting things. Men and ladies, if something feels wrong, if you're not feeling fulfilled, like, leave that. I wasted 2 years of my life. This other girl that I don't even know if she knows yet, 4 years, and this other girl 5.5 years, on and off, I think. So that's my story time. This has been so long, but
I wish, I wish we could have some of these people on the show so we could get some more in-depth knowledge of the situation, because she gave obviously a very long story here, but there are some questions that I still have here, because the girl that reached out to her I'm confused whether they had broken up or if they were, because she reached out to her, but I don't know. There was just a few things that I'm a little bit unclear about, because I get it. She was the other girlfriend, but I'm confused what her actual motive became for reaching out. Is it because they were going through a rough patch? And also I'm wondering, did those other girls or one of those other girls still stay after realizing that? Because sometimes the girls will reach out to you and tell you that, hey, I'm dating him as well, and then they'll stay with him, which is another whole story for another day. But quite a story. Maybe one day we might have to have her on the show just to describe her story here. That's crazy.
Can I just say you're the
Why is that so loud?
only girl I care about?
No, you may not, passenger princess, because I was not finished speaking. And don't you even try to say, like, oh, it's not like that. I've known them for 10 years. They're like a sister to me. Then why are you liking your sister's thirst trap, perv? And miss me with the, oh, I'm just so used to doing it. I don't even pay attention. I just like it and keep scrolling. It's not that deep. So if it's not that deep to you, and you know how it makes me feel, then why would you jeopardize this relationship that you claim to care so much about? Would you go up to her in front of me and say, oh, I like what I see? No, you wouldn't. So then why are you doing that for everyone to see? And you've offered no reassurance other than, oh, well, it won't happen again until it does. And don't say, oh, I'll just delete the app. Please save me the drama. I need to know that you can see these pictures that are tempting you that bad and know that you can refrain from liking them out of respect for me. But if this is the third offense, that tells me that this behavior is not going to change and you're just going to get better at hiding it. With every picture you liked, with every girl you followed, with every girl you were a little too flirty with at work, that pushed me farther and farther away from you. And all I needed was that last straw, and you just gave it to me.
Are you being serious?
Yes. So get out, give me my yogis.
Wow. Can I just say
We've watched her before. I realize now that this is her content. That doesn't take away from the seriousness or the point that she's trying to make. But because you'd be naturally thinking, if it was really that serious, why don't you just not be with him? Why record the video and do a whole thing? That's her version of, that's how she does her content. So it's a skit. Yeah, it's a skit. But yeah, these are someone, it's funny in the comments here. One of the top comments says, if my brain worked this fast during an argument, I would be unstoppable, as we would all be. But it's just, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Can I just say,
It's just a, oh my God. It's just,
can I just say you're the
it's just one of those things where, yeah, in theory, saying all of that to someone would be amazing, but nobody's brain works that fast in a argument. But what she's saying in the root of it is, I understand it. I understand it because validation also comes in the form of liking pictures and social media as well. And so if you're validating other people through that, it's can also be an issue, right?
I'm just so used to doing it. I don't even pay attention. I just like it and keep scrolling. It's not that deep. So if it's not that deep to you and you know how it makes me feel, then why would you...
Is that knives on her neck though, or are those crosses? Every time I see that, it just confuses me. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I don't like, wait, let's read this. This is like a short little video. Me at 2 a.m. Stalking the girl I got cheated on with because I can't seem to figure out what she had that I didn't. Don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do. I know you're tempted to do this. Don't do this. You're only going to put yourself in pain, and then you're going to be spiraling, worrying about someone else's life. Truthfully, stop doing that. Use all of your energy for yourself. Don't do this. It's a waste of energy. Truthfully, I mean that. Someone said I script my arguments. You guys are funny.
If you want to be happy for a decade, get a dog. And if you want to be happy for your life, plant a garden. The way I was so curious about where she was going to go with that after she said to get married for a year, and then planting a garden could be so many things. You plant a garden in your mind, you plant a garden in your beauty, you plant a garden in your friends, you plant a garden in your professional life. Everything is a garden when you choose to invest in things. And oftentimes we've been sold the lie that men are worth investing in, because that return on investment has really got us so far. This is why I say let men rot, because I want to encourage...
Okay, no diss chat. I want to hear what she has to say. And I'm sure she's telling her honest truth. Is she saying let men rot and sitting next to a man? It looks like it's a man in a hunter sweater. I don't, hey, listen, that doesn't take away from the truth of what she's about to say, but I'm just curious, is she saying let men rot while sitting next to a man? Okay.
Say let men rot because I want to encourage women to invest into things that actually bear fruit. Men are going to rot without us if we don't continue to water their garden, let alone our garden. And I am so curious about what would happen in women's lives if they started paying attention to the things that actually bring nourishment to them rather than our dead weight. Like,
oh, someone said, is it a bag? No, it's a sweater. You guys can't see it on TikTok, so it'll cut off, but there's a seam right here, so you can see that this is a shoulder.
Men. I often look to older women who emulate a life that I wish to live, which is to be unmarried and child-free, and I always see them as being the happiest people.
See, it's moving.
And so I look to them and I'm like, that's my role model. I don't want to look to somebody who's miserable in their marriage and has children they don't even like. So ladies, tend to your gardens and remove the weeds. Martha Stewart.
What she's saying is still truth in its root. I just thought, because she was saying let men rot, and it sounds like a man sigh here.
And so I look to them as a role model free, and I always life that I wish to live, which is to be unmarried and child-free, and I always see them as being the happiest people. And so I look to them and I'm like, that's my role.
Whatever, I'm paying attention to the wrong stuff. What she's saying is right though. What she's trying to say is invest in yourself first, and put that energy into you. Let a man come into your life that is the man that you're looking for after you evaluate him, but don't over-invest yourself into men that aren't even going to be invested in you, okay? That's kind of basically the root of what she's saying. Sorry. I know that I be distracting those of you as well, because I be distracted by some stuff. I'm paying attention to everything. I see everything.
Most of you don't need to hear if he wanted to, he would. You need to hear if you loved yourself, you wouldn't. Most of you don't need to hear if he wanted to, he would. You need to hear if you loved yourself, you wouldn't.
Actually, the reason I like this quote by her, these are like digital video quotes. I like this quote because it reminds you that like you're also in control. Don't ever forget that, because sometimes when a guy is using you, taking advantage of you, you can convince yourself like, oh, why is he doing this to me? I wish he would just leave me alone if he didn't want to be with me. But like, you also have to decide for yourself, if this is wasting my time, I'm not going to entertain him. You can't be waiting for men to stop using you because it's the right thing to do, okay? Someone said that's a nice cup handle. You guys be distracted by everything, but I noticed that as well. All right, chat, let's hop into our next segment of the day. You guys should know what segment this is, and it's Friday, so we're gonna have fun today. You should know what time it is. Tell me in the chat what time it is. I wanna know what time it is. It's a great time. It's a special time. It's the time where you're gonna laugh and you're gonna cry. Okay, don't look at your clock. Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your phone. Don't look nowhere else in your home. If you don't know what time it is, I'm gonna tell you what time it is. All right, chat. Let's hop into our Discord section of the show, where we discuss all of these amazing relationships and situationships that are going on with all of you. For those of you who don't know how we do it here in Discord time, let me explain this to you really quick. So essentially what we do during Discord time is all the members of the Players Club get to submit their questions to me about their relationship or their situationship, and I answer them live on the show. Now, there's a few ways to submit your question because you have many different options. Now, the first way to do that is by hopping right into our free section by going into our link in bio on TikTok or the link in the description on YouTube. When you get there, you hop into the free section, format your question, and you post it here. Now, the thing is, there are lots of other highlighted questions here that I still have to get to, and it's a first come, first serve basis. So that means I won't be able to get to your question today if you put it in there today. It's going to take me a couple of weeks. Now, if you don't want to wait that long in order for to get your question answered, you can also submit your question in our premium relationship advice section, where it's like a skip the line pass, and it allows you to skip the line, and I answer these questions before I hop into our free section. Okay, so you have that option as well if you don't want to wait even a second, or you don't want to wait that long, right? A couple of weeks. Now, there's a third option for you to submit your question, which is our private relationship advice, which is also available in our Discord, or it's available by accessing a link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. When you go there and you'll go to where it says private relationship advice, you will send me a question. Only I see it. It doesn't go on the show. And I respond to you with a voice message via your email. And no one else reads your messages, just between me and you, okay? That way you can get an answer from me without it being on the show. By the way, if you're donating to Premium, you got to do it through the link in my bio on TikTok or link in my description. When you do it, you're going to put in your Discord username and the title of your question, and then I'm able to ensure that that's you and that's your question, okay? So we're going to hop right into the free section today. We don't have any premium questions for today. We're going to hop right into our free section, and we're going to go and start off today with MC. So MC says, impossible to find, okay? MC says, hi, Tomisin. Being 34, recently single, and dating again, I've come to have a fear that maybe what I'm looking for isn't in just one person. Oh, no. I hope this is not going where I think it's going. I know that character traits are the most important, and looks shouldn't be too emphasized, which you might say. But as long as a guy I'm somewhat attracted to, I'm giving a chance to know him better, so it's not like I have super high standards on looks, okay? However, I've been talking with a good female friend of mine, also 31, and she has in the few recent years experienced really good providers, princess treatment to the T. Always pursuing her, but she doesn't have the pineapple attraction towards them, or the guy who is an amazing provider is very bad at pineapples, like a few minutes, 2 positions, and not improving. Okay. Due to most of the time working and building his own career instead of womanizing. So this is a very big conundrum. Big conundrum. And she's had to finally say no to these really great providers, but the men who are amazing at pineapples are usually the player womanizers who obviously have a lot of experience, but fails at the providing part. They're broke, but they have a lot of time on their hands. As we are both over 30 plus and not looking to dilly-dally with our time, and being keenly aware of the phenomena of a lot of single women over 30 who are a lot more mature character-wise and also financially independent, does this mean finding a true masculine partner who is a great provider, romantic, great at pineapples is just slim pickings or non-existent? I've seen other coaches advising to go ugly as you can handle. Oh my God. Is that what they be saying to y'all? And the other coaches? I'm not a coach, I'm just a human being. But the other people, they be saying go as ugly as you can handle. Is that the advice they give you? Wow. Basically, only focusing on the providing aspect of the man as a highlight, but overlooking pineapples, ability to be romantic, womanizing ability, and settling in a sense. It just feels very deflating for me. What are your thoughts on this? Also, the other thing, I've been contemplating on holding off pineapples until marriage or at least engagement, but incompatible in pineapples department also throwing me off, like finding out there is an issue after being emotionally involved and attached is devastating. Help. Also, What are some important questions to ask the first few dates to gauge his character, even though he is on his best behavior and showing his representative side? Example, I saw a guy's profile frequently drink alcohol, sometimes smoke, but on the second date when I asked him, he said, "Oh, I've cut off alcohol for a while. It's not healthy, etc., etc., and I don't smoke now." Is it just to impress me, or is it really true? Well, that you're only going to be able to see over time. I've been debating to not live together before marriage because there are some obvious incompatibilities only seen by living together. He becomes very messy and expects me to pick up after him, though if his own place was kept clean when not living together, right? Though his own place was kept clean. So you're just saying, I don't want to be bamboozled. So what are your thoughts on this? I don't want to be stuck forever in the girlfriend mode by living together. But if going to marriage directly, these are some things I won't know until after the fact. 3, playing devil's advocate with yourself. Okay. Men also watch your videos on advising women to ignore them. Where did you get that? Which man do you know watches my videos to get information on what I say? I don't think that we have that problem here, but maybe, I don't know. Okay. Could they use this against women and be like, well, that's just playing games if you're actively ignoring me, delaying responses, and I'm turned off? Real event yesterday. I returned my ex's call after 3 days and he joked, "Oh, hey, I should have waited 6 days to not answer and then call you back. I genuinely was just taking time for myself, but it made me think of if an aspect of me was also practicing." I think you meant to say practicing this advice, ignoring thing. Well, here's the thing. You also have to remember men always want something from you. Right? Meaning that, like, no matter how much men can say, yeah, men, we love being around men. At the end of the day, when they go to that party, like I said earlier, they're still going to say, yeah, cool. All my bros are here. But like, yeah, having no women here is not a fun party. So I say that to say, even if they say, oh, so I watched Tomisin's show and I realized that he gave you this advice. So I'm literally going to make sure that I ignore you too, so that, you start to break and then you have no choice but to contact me. You have to remember the men need you. They do. They do. And I understand you need men first to a certain extent as well. But the men are not going to be happy just being single with just men around. Trust me. And because they're naturally inclined to be more proactive and pursue the things that they want, they're more likely to say, I'm unhappy with this situation and I need to make a change because I want this person, I want this girl, I want this relationship. Trust me, even the coldest of cold men that will be the reddest of red pill eventually say to themselves, I actually do need a wife and I need someone to settle down with and I need a companion. I know this sounds super philosophical and spiritual and things like that, but God or what the universe or whatever you think your creator is, did not design our world and us as beings to be alone in isolation. We were designed to be with one another, okay? And so there always comes a point where even the coldest of cold person says, I need someone there, okay? So don't feel like, oh, the men will just play me until, it's a standoff, okay? They eventually break themselves as well. I know you said to go off dating apps, but I find it a good avenue to meet new people. Are you meeting friends on dating apps? Just curious, as most put long-term relationship as what they seek, but another coach said put marriage if that's what you truly want. As a man, does this truly scare men off, or just only the ones not ready and thus a good qualifier? My honest advice to you is to stay off the dating apps because people are good at being anyone on the dating app. So I'm not saying that... The thing about the advice people will give you for dating apps is that in theory, yeah, you'll qualify yourself or disqualify some men because you put certain things in your bio. But at the end of the day, guys, if they notice that they can take advantage of you, they'll do that. And if they really want to do that, they'll figure out a way to do that if you're going to allow them to. So, I mean, yeah, putting marriage in your profile might help you disqualify some men, but don't think to yourself that, hey, because I put marriage in my profile, I'll never get played by any of those men. The idea of still having to meet them and vet them and get to know them on a consistent, regular basis to see what they're about still applies. Also, when you talked about here, in terms of, so we'll start at the top here a little bit. In terms of meeting people and meeting men, you don't have to necessarily pick one or the other. What you have to first understand for yourself, and this is part of like writing out what your own needs and wants are in a relationship, you have to ask yourself, what are the most important values to me and qualities to me in a relationship? What are the most important qualities that I want in a man? What are also the most important provider aspects that I want in a man? Like, what are the minimum requirements, meaning the minimum type of job he needs to have and type of salary he needs to make, the type of financial stability he has to have, right? Answer those questions for yourself and then say to yourself, okay, I can't go below this threshold and I also can't go below this threshold. So for you, it might be, I can't go below the threshold of a guy who makes less than me. And I also can't go below the threshold of a guy who, you know, when I think about my pineapple satisfaction with him, it's, you know, literally very, very horrible, right? So you don't want to have to go in any one extreme, but you want to identify the most important parts of a relationship for you as an individual. And then in the process of meeting guys, qualify whether or not the guy that you're meeting fits that criteria or he doesn't. Right? You're looking for a balance of things. Obviously, you're never going to get absolutely perfect, but you're looking for your balance, meaning you're looking for someone that meets those specifications. They might not go above and beyond and be A+ in all categories, but they have enough of what you need to be in a sustainable relationship, right? So some men that you meet might not necessarily be millionaires, but horrible in bed. And some men that you meet might not necessarily be amazing in bed, but absolutely broke, right? You can meet something that's somewhere in the middle on the scale that works best for you. That's what you should be looking for, okay? And I don't think that you need to be worried about not being able to find that, because I can assure you, you'll be able to find that balance, but it's about knowing what your balance is first so that you know how to spend your time. The other thing is, part of the thing that you're complaining about is actually a function of what you're doing. So you're talking about the fact that you feel like you're only meeting two types of men, but then you're also talking about down here that you don't really want to get off the dating apps because you think it's a good way to meet new people. So you're not realizing it, but you're actually saying the environment that I spend the most time in is yielding me this result that I don't like, but I like being in this environment. But the environment is actually what's making you suffer from seeing the same result over and over again. So if you want to see different types of people, you have to change your environment. Okay. A lot of you guys tell me this and you guys ask me this. You're like, hey, how do I start, meeting different type of men? All these men that I meet are trash. All the men that I go out with are trash. But then when I ask you, hey, where do you meet all your men? You say, I meet all my men on dating apps. Well, if all the men you meet on dating apps are trash and you don't like those trash men, you're going to have to start meeting them in different environments, right? So that's kind of like the number one thing that you need to be thinking of in order to solve your problems there. Okay. Now, the other things in terms of living with them and getting those answers before you get surprised after marriage, if you know pineapples is just sex. If you know intimacy is very important to you and it's not something you want to compromise on, it's not something you want to take the risk of it being bad, then you have to be thinking, yeah, probably with my boyfriend, I probably should sleep with him. If you know you cannot risk the idea of it being horrible after marriage, after you get married to him, then you know, hey, you're probably going to want to sleep with someone, or in the process of getting to know them, get a sense of like, what are your KINKSs? What are you into? What do you like? Are we compatible in that sense, in the intimacy sense? Do we have the same type of things that we like? Do we have the same type of vibe? Okay, if let's say for the sake of example, you like to get tied up. Is he into that? Is he not? Is he square? Is he vanilla? Are you not? Are you totally different? Or is he on the extreme of something you're not into, right? Those are conversations you can have, not at the beginning, but over the course of time where you start to learn someone's vibe, if they're compatible with you as well in bed or not. Okay. So that's my advice for you, right? Let's go on to our next question here, which comes from Cats. No, wait, what? It's so confusing. I guess it was deleted. Okay. I guess it was deleted. That was like a little comment there. Okay. Our next one comes from Kayla. So Kayla says, when we start talking to a guy, I know that we aren't supposed to text them often and leave no separation. But how are we supposed to go about this if they keep texting you? I do enjoy texting, but if a guy starts texting me continuously and asking me about my day, I feel obligated to respond. Why? I'm not saying that you just completely ignore him, but why do you feel compelled to match a man who's texting you a lot's energy? Why can't you just continue to be you and allow him to pursue you? He might want to talk to you a lot, but you're not going to be on that phone a lot. So you know what's going to happen? If he really wants to talk to you that bad, it will force him to ask you out on a date. What I want you guys to understand, Kayla, what I want you to understand is I don't give you guys the advice to not text men simply for playing a game. I give you the advice to not text men because we want to narrow their options to seeing you and spending time with you and having conversation with you. We want to narrow that to one simple way to get that is by asking you out on a date. Because Kayla, what you don't want is to make yourself fun and bubbly and enjoyable to talk to over text. It sounds good in the beginning, but what ends up happening is those guys become comfortable with just texting you. They become comfortable with just casually having conversation with you. Like India just said, they want to yap all day. But then because it's so satisfying to yap with you over text, they no longer feel that hunger or desire to say, hey, I don't feel like I've gotten enough from you. I want to see you in person and take you out on a date. That's why a lot of you end up falling into the trap and the cycle of dating a guy. And when maybe not even dating a guy, talking to a guy, and you get really good at texting each other back and forth, but then that guy never asks you out on a date. But the reality of it is you can't build a relationship with a guy who only texts you. So then you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you're like, I text you so much, but why can't you ask me out on a date? Because we can't just text forever, which is why I say squeeze the life out of texting. So they can, if he really wants to talk to you that bad, his only option is to take you out on a date. I realize the more I text someone, the more emotionally attached I feel to them, and it does no good for me overall. In the past, it has turned into a habit where I've updated them so much more than I'd like, only because I really like them, and it ended up backfiring. I think it made them like me less. However, I don't know how to go about this without making it seem like I'm not interested, totally ignoring them. Basically, is it unreasonable if I don't contact them at all unless they schedule a date? And how would I establish this? Even if I'm in a relationship with them, is it okay if I continue to not entertain unproductive texting? It's perfectly fine, even if you're in a relationship. Let me give you guys the clear structure of the way you structure it to accomplish everything that you're trying to accomplish. When a guy is texting you all the time and you don't want to make yourself seem like you're uninterested, what you want to do is when you're going these long periods of time without texting him, you want to say, oh, sorry, my bad for being kind of, wishy-washy over text. It's not that I don't like you. I just be doing a whole bunch of stuff and I get really busy. But right, you don't even have to say it's not that I don't like you. You just say, I've just been really busy doing blah, 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 blah. And then after you say that, you say, but I am so much better in person, and you'll get so much, such a better side of me in person. I promise you, it's not like that the way it is over text. And you leave it there. You leave it there. Leave it there. You're not asking him out on a date. You're not asking him to go out. You're not asking to spend time with him. You're just saying, hey, I know I'm a horrible texter. It's not because I don't care. It's just because I've been doing this, I've been doing that, I've been doing this. But I'm so much better in person. Let the guy then make the connection in, oh, I see she's interested in me, and it's not because she doesn't like me that she's not texting me. I see that she's busy. Maybe if I want to talk to her and I want to actually get my time with her, I should ask her out on a date so that we can spend this in-person time with her and I don't have to get this really cold, non-communicative side of her, okay? You have to leave it there, though, so the men can make the connection themselves. When they make the connection themselves, then they can say, oh, I have a great idea. why don't we go out to dinner on Friday? And you can say, oh my God, I never ever thought of this ever before. And I'm realizing how amazing of an idea it is that we go out to dinner. You're so smart. How'd you get so smart? And that's what you do. Okay. And like I said, don't feel anxiety because the guys want to talk to you a lot. Just let them want to talk to you a lot. Eventually, as they want to talk to you a lot and they're realizing they're not really getting much out of you over text, but they know that you're still kind of interested, they will eventually say, I've got a bright idea. Okay. And that's exactly what you want. What you're trying to do essentially is stimulate them to come up with the bright idea to take you out on a date, because that's what you're really aiming for. You're not aiming for a texting buddy. Okay. You're not even aiming for a FaceTime or a phone call buddy. You're aiming for a relationship partner that you see in real life, not on the phone. Okay. Let's go to our next question here. All right. This one says, please read. Oh boy, chat. This is a PDF. Oh boy. Let's see what this says here. I might have to, wow. I'm really curious. What this is. I'm gonna have to download a PDF. Oh God. I'm not even gonna show you what's in that PDF, chat. You, Lowly, please copy and paste your message here. Cut it down a little bit, okay? Make sure the most important parts are there. I'm not saying I don't want to answer your question. I'm just saying make sure it's structured and try and summarize. I want to know details, but try and make it more concise, okay? Because I see here in your PDF it's 2 pages, okay? And it's well structured, but put it in the Discord so we can read it in the right format, because I want to give everyone a good experience. And also, make sure that the most important parts of the question are there. I will definitely answer it. Just repost it there. I promise you I'll get to it. All right. Let's go to our next one here. All right. Which comes, this is MC again. We just did MC. Is this the same question or is this a different one? Confused on boundary setting and what to learn for future relationships that the recent boyfriend isn't putting in effort. Seems men, after they get your commitment, just relax on the couch and no more effort. Not proactive in planning dates. My favorite is hanging at home. Wait, a guy said this to you? Is hanging at home with you. We do our own things or watching something together. Because outside I get too stressed, having to be alert all the time and having, to protect you or stare down other guys. It's not fun for me. I know deep down this is manipulation, but can you please break it down as a man from a man's perspective? Basically just wants to put in 0 effort, right? What shall I do if we're living together, married, breaking up, or just do my own things? Okay. So whenever you find yourself in a situation like this, where a guy is making an excuse for why he can't do something, what you want to, instead of making an assumption, you want to start asking questions so you can get to the root of the problem. Because when you get to the root of the problem, it becomes very hard to escape the solution unless that's really just not what your problem is. So let me break this down a little bit for you, MC. In your situation, if a guy is saying, I don't like going out of the house because it's too stressful for me and I have to be on alert, you say, oh, great. Okay, I completely understand and I don't want you to be in that position. Can you name me an example of, so this is the type of questions you ask. You say, is it because when we're around other people, you just feel like you have to be protective over me? He might say, yeah, when we're in a place where there's strangers, I feel like I have to be on guard to make sure no one's acting weird or doing anything weird. Then you say, oh, okay, I get it. So it's really about the fact that we're around a whole bunch of strangers or in a new place where we don't know the vibe of everyone else. Then he says, yeah, I really don't like that. When we're around those strangers, I just don't know what they're about. I don't know what they're on. And it just makes me a little bit nervous. And then you say, oh, so if we were able to be in a spot that, there was less going on or there wasn't any, strange people around or random people around, that would make you feel more comfortable and relaxed because it'd really just be like me and you hanging out. Then he says, yeah, I think, if it wasn't for other people being around, then it would make me a little bit more relaxed. Perfect. Now, when you say, okay, that's great. So That's awesome. So now I know for the dates that we plan, I'll make sure that we always keep in mind that we go places that don't have, a lot of people around. And I'm assuming this is your boyfriend, right? That we don't have a lot of people around, or, go places that are a little bit more private. Okay. Right. So you've I know this sounds really weird, but you've kind of backed him into a corner now, because now you've kind of acknowledged what the problem is. And if the problem is that being around all these other people makes him stressed out because they're strangers, and you guys acknowledge, okay, so we're going to go on dates from now on that are more low key, places that it can just be you and me, and there aren't a whole bunch of people around, right? It's not that you have to suggest it or even, say anything of it or whatever. You just say, oh, now I know what the issue has been, and now I know for the future. Now, his options are very limited. He either has to acknowledge that you're right and then start to come up with solutions that fit those criteria of the thing that, because you said, I'm okay with that, I'm perfectly fine with that, and I would love that. So once you say, I love it, I love to go to places with you that are like, more low key and spend some time with you outside, but it's just like me and you being together, I would absolutely love that, and I'm so down for that. Now that you've acknowledged you're okay with that, and you guys have acknowledged what the problem is, and you guys have solved that problem in understanding what you're going to do for the future, his choices now are very limited. Either he then goes about it how you guys said you were going to go about it, or he has to now skirt around and say, oh, but it's actually not just the people being there. It's also the fact that when I breathe in outside air, I have allergies, and, I start sneezing a whole bunch. And when I start sneezing, I get discombobulated and I can't go on a date outside because my allergies. Then it's just a lie. Okay, he's just using that as an excuse to because he wants to put in no effort, and you've gotten your answer, right? You get a lot more answers by asking questions than you do by making assumptions, okay? Or just by calling him out on something, right? That way, you present the situation as, oh, I'd love to solve your problem and help us get to where we can go and have an enjoyable time. And then when you do that in the way that he's describing, I'm stressed, I'm whatever, and then you solve that problem, or you help to come to a solution. Now he either has to say, yeah, that's a great solution, we're going to do that, or he has to basically admit by changing the goalpost, he has to admit to saying that, yeah, actually, I was just, making an excuse there. Okay. And he's going to have to change his reasoning for not wanting to go out. Okay. And that's when you don't argue. You don't say, oh, but I caught you in this and I did that, and now you're making a change and this and that. You peep that. And then now it's time for you to make a decision, because now you know that he really isn't trying to put in any effort. And even if you find a solution for the problem, or you help come up with the solution, he's still going to move the goalpost. So now this man isn't even prepared to do any sort of effort in terms of the relationship. Now it's your job to reevaluate the relationship if this is what you even want. Okay? Truthfully and honestly. Let's go into our next question here. Okay, which comes from Melissa. All right. Melissa says, feeling too alone. Hey, Tomisin, I've always been on the conservative side about not having pineapples quickly. Your advice helps to keep that standard and observing men's actions, but before jumping into bed with them. However, in this modern world, I'm unsure it's an advantage. Half of my female friends are engaged or married, and single ones have rostered who they're sleeping with. Okay. Sure, they experience heartaches and ghosting just like girls who don't do pineapples. My friends say I'm too picky and rigid with these rules, but I've recently noticed that I'm being called too reserved on dates. Had 3 guys recently calling me that after I denied their invitations to come over and hook up. Okay, so that's their problem. After 1 to 4 dates, I guess I'm feeling my high standards are keeping me single. I'm not planning on becoming casual with everyone I meet. I guess I'm looking for motivation. Are men spoiled in the modern world by easy women? So us girls who are more conservative are paying the price? Please tell me that there are quality guys who are comfortable to wait for pineapples. Do they even exist? 1, yes, they exist. 2, they do not exist if you're spending a lot of your times in places where microwave men are, they do not hang out there. What I mean by that is if you say you want a man who wants to do hard things, but you're spending all your time meeting men on dating apps, I don't know if you are, right? You're spending all your time meeting men on dating apps. That is the exact environment where all the men who don't want to do hard things are existing. Why? Because dating apps allow them to, instead of having to get up out of bed, shave, get a haircut, go out, be charismatic, buy a girl a drink, be interesting, be funny, and all that other stuff, they get to sit in their crusty boxers with nut stains on them, with their hair messy and their face unshaved, and just swipe left and swipe right, okay? So I say that to say the men who want to do the absolute bare minimum are all on dating apps because it's literally the easiest way to meet women without having to actually do anything. Okay, it's not meant to be a diss of dating apps. It's just a function of how the concept works in reality versus in theory. And so the reason I say that is that could be one of the issues that you're facing. Now, the other thing that you have to realize is when you are in a situation where your mindset is going to play into what you actually see. I know this sounds really spiritual, but your mindset and what you believe is the truth is going to manifest itself out in your life as the truth. So if you believe that you're too conservative, like you actually start believing what these men are saying, you're too conservative and the fact that your standards are too high, you're going to start seeing that in your dating and your talking stages. What I want for you is to never even allow that brainwashing, that virus to enter your mind that you need to start lowering your standards to be more like the other women. Because I promise you, men might say being conservative is too much when they're talking about hooking up with you. But I promise you, when it comes time to, have a wife that respects herself and that they can respect as well, they will be looking for the woman who is quote unquote the most conservative. So you have to understand that a function of the type of man you're looking for will also coincide and fit perfectly with the type of woman that you're embodying. Are you following what I'm saying? So understand that when you meet men and you don't mesh with them because you're a little bit more, have higher standards and you hold yourself to a higher level of self-respect, understand that the men who won't mesh with you are actually the men that you're not looking for. So you're actually doing something, instead of seeing it as something very bad that's happening, I want you to be seeing it as something very good that's happening because your standards are actually disqualifying the men who are not what you're looking for. So being you is actually weeding out all the men who you never even wanted to be in a relationship with in the first place, which is actually making your life a lot easier because you're spending a lot less wasted time on men who weren't even who you wanted to end up with. So you're actually doing, you know how they have self-sabotaging? You're doing the opposite. Yourself is helping yourself because your character is repelling men who are going to waste your time, and it's eventually going to invite a man who wants to build with you. Are you following what I'm saying? And now you're less confused. Instead of having to date one guy for 3 months, sleep with him, and then be like, this didn't work out. Date another guy for 2 months, sleep with him, and then be like, this didn't work out. And just do a whole bunch of time wasting and be in a whole bunch of confusing situationships. You get the opportunity. This is why mindset is so important, because changing it will change your perspective. You get the opportunity to waste way less time than all your other single friends with rosters, because they might seem like they're having a lot of fun, but they also have a lot of heartache, and they also have a lot of confusion, and they also have a lot of wasted energy that isn't getting invested back into themselves. Because whether they like it or not, they're pouring into those men. So you get the amazing opportunity to be very efficient with your time and energy, where you only end up dating men for an extended period of time that are actually who you're looking for. And all the men who are ready to waste their time or just want to be part of your roster just end up falling off of a cliff after 1 to 4 dates because they're not even who you're looking for. So they weed themselves out instead of you having to do a whole long process like all your other friends who are single, doing a whole long process, figuring out, are you serious or unserious? They disqualify themselves for you and make your life so much easier. That's how I want you to start reshaping your view of it, to help yourself when you're going on dates. Continue to be confident in who you are and what you stand for, not adjusting that for other people so they're more comfortable with you and around you. Never, ever, ever. This is a message for all of you. Never, ever, ever be focused on changing or adjusting what you stand for to be more or of what someone else likes. Keep your standards, keep what you think you should be doing, what you do, and keep investing in yourself the way that you feel you should be investing in yourself. Don't let anyone take you off that path. Let someone meet you where you already are in the beliefs that you already have that meshes with you, that you guys can share a singular goal and reach that goal, okay? Not the other way around where you're thinking, oh, let me change this, let me change that, let me sleep with men, let me be more easier, let me not have as high standards because maybe the men will like me more. When you think like that, you turn into a pick-me-sha, and then the men hate you anyways because they just take advantage of you, okay? So don't do that. All right, chat, that's the show for today. For those of you who want to send me in a question, you can do that whether in the free section or in the Discord premium section. It's the link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. And if you have a private question, those links are available for you there as well. Okay, chat? For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is just above my head. It's Tomisin_Atub. There for you there. For those of you who are on YouTube, it's just in the link in my description below there for you as well if you want to follow me on Instagram. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show because you came late or you missed some parts. Oh, I didn't shout out SH. Shout out SH. I didn't shout you out at the beginning of the show. Welcome. And for those of you who are on TikTok, you missed parts of the show, you can always rewatch all the segments that we talked about on the show on my YouTube page. It's Tomisin Atobatele. Go on my YouTube page, go into the live section. You'll see this live stream and all the other live streams I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and TikTok live chat embedded in the video so you won't miss any conversation that we were having there, okay? For those of you who are wondering when I'm on live next, it will be on Monday because I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm going to be here again on Monday at 4 p.m. EST. That's when you can catch me on live. Until we meet again, goodbye for now. Arrivederci, adios, sayonara, hasta la vista, ciao, salam, bon voyage. And I will see you tomorrow, or not tomorrow. I'll be saying tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk again about love, life, and relationships and everything in between, okay? Bye for now. Also, catch on my YouTube. Got lots of videos going up on my YouTube this weekend, okay? I'll see you later. See ya. See ya.